All right, Shalom. First off, I want to say, Call Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kodash. Double honors to apostles and elders, the GMS. Shalom to the elect doing the work in sincerity and truth. This is GMS Precepts. Nazar Khud here. And real quick, I want to go over this verse here in Hosea. Well-known verse. A verse a lot of brothers and sisters might be familiar with. And this is going into a prophecy, right? I want to go into this word here in this verse, because the apostles, Apostle Gabar, all the apostles really, but Apostle Gabar in particular, what I got from him was he always stresses definitions. He always goes into definitions of words, because if you do that, you have more of an understanding of the word, and in most cases, more in the context of scriptures, you have more understanding of scriptures. If you go into certain words in the scriptures, so it could be a very powerful thing, and it could be a lesson. So that's the Lord willing what I'm going to accomplish here today. But so I'm gonna go into Hosea. I'm gonna read the whole verse. I'm gonna go into a word, and we'll just start off. So this is Hosea 1:10. It says, "Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea." Right? And all right, so right here, this is a prophecy, right? It says, "Yet the number of the children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, shall be as the sand of the sea." That's going into the prophecy. That goes back to the promise from going back to Abraham. Right? Abraham was, you know what, let me go back, because that's Genesis 17 chapter. I don't want to butcher it. Abraham 17. Yeah, and this is the same account where he changed his name. Right? He changed his name. Let me find a particular verse. Let me go into the verse in particular where it goes into the promise, right? Father exalted, right? It says this is the first verse when it goes into his name, Abaram, which means Father exalted, right? The original name of Abraham. But when you go down here, and when you go down, whoa, this is a lot here. I don't know if I want to. I'm gonna go with the spirit though. I just wanted this first point here. Just bear with me. Let me get the Bible here to see what exactly where I want to start, or I might just start at the first verse in Genesis 17. Okay, it's verse 5 here. Right, so I'll read it. It says, this is going into the prophecy. This whole chapter is good, and this is a good chapter to read when going into the promises, right, given to Abraham, right? Because this is where essentially where it starts. I mean, you can go back to Noah, you can go back to Eber, but this is where it starts, right? This is why he's referred to as uh, father of the promise, right? Because the promise to the nation of Israel started with Abraham, right? And then it goes from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? So this is Genesis 17:5. It says, "Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee," right? And this is going into the promise, man. Right? This is the blessing received from Abraham, from the Most High, right? So let's go into the Bible dictionary, right? It says, "Neither shall thy name be any more called Abram." This is a lesson in itself, and the lesson is starting to shift, but that's how the spirit is. It says, "Neither shall thy name be called Abram," right? You go into the word Abram, Abaram, which means father. It means exalted father, right? Going back, but thy name shall be Abraham, right? Abba Raham, and it means father of a multitude or chief multitude, right? Meaning nations are going to come out of thee. You're going to be you're going to have your lineage is going to be very, very fruitful. And then it goes on to say that verse 6, it says, "I will make thee exceeding fruitful," right? Now when you go back to Hosea 1:10, let's go to it. When you go to Hosea 1:10, what does it say? I'm sorry, I think I passed it. Here it is. I knew it was one of them. When you go back to Hosea 1:10, what does it say? It says, Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered." Meaning we're going to be now, if you look today, you can't number the nation of Israel. You can't number the amount of Israelites on earth, because we don't look alike. There isn't a distinct look or appearance physically that an Israelite has. Why? Because an Israelite can look like any other nation, right? Going back to the curses, you go to Luke 26 and 33, you go to Deuteronomy 28. When it goes into the curses, what are one of the punishments for the Israelites not abiding by the law statutes given to them? One of them was we were going to be scattered throughout all nations, right? Let's get that. I'll go to Leviticus 26. Leviticus. No, I'm in Exodus. So not here. Leviticus is these Bibles. I don't know how I used to. I'm using my old Bible, but these words are so small. I don't know how I read this. Right? So this is Leviticus 26, verse 33. It says, "And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste," right? So this is what, and if you read at verse 27, it goes into the breakdown, or what it goes into a breakdown of the verses, right? It says what? Abandonment for disobedience, right? So this is a punishment of us abandoning the Most High, abandoning our power, and following after the other nations' God, right? So one of them is, "I will scatter you among the heathen." Now, when you're mingled in with the other nations, what happens? You not only look like the other nations, right? But you start to assimilate, or you start to and it happens very quickly. It usually is just one generation, right? You not only start to look like the other nations, you start to take on their practices, take on their beliefs, take on their gods, and you get lost in there. And the nation of Israel got lost into the other nations, right? Not all of them, right? But then you go into the tribe, right? The 12 tribes list. You go down: Judah, so-called Negroes; Benjamin, West Indians, or Benjamin, West Indian people; Levi, or Loya, so-called Haitians, all the way down the line, right? There's a distinct look, right? But then you have the foreigners, the Israelite foreigners, that don't look like the people in that sign. You might have a few that might look like them, right? But the point is, it's impossible to number the children of Israel, because we look like everybody. The nation of Israel is mingled throughout the whole four corners of the earth, right? And going into, that's like the hot topic for the last 2 weeks, because of Genesis. They're trying to say now that the Israelite natural born heathens can make it. Anyway, this isn't about that. Right? So let's go back now. Let's go back. So let me finish Genesis. If I didn't finish it, let me go over that verse again. So it says, verse Genesis 17:5, it says, neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, or Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful. You see, what does that mean, fruitful? That goes into Genesis, one of the early chapters, when he told Adam to be what? Be fruitful and multiply. What does that mean? Have sex and have kids, have children, right? So it says, I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations out of thee, and kings shall come out of thee, right? What does that mean? Going down the history of Israel, we had kings. We were exceeding. That's one thing about Jake. We multiply. We know, like, one of our blessings is to have children, right? It's a blessing to have kids, but it's the same. I can go into the story of Exodus, right? When we went into that land, Egypt, we went into that land. I believe it was like 70 souls, and then over the years, we multiplied to the point where now the kings, or the rulers of Egypt, they had to put us in slavery in fear of us overpowering them. You see? So that's one of the blessings, man. Jake can have kids. That's a blessing onto the, and this is why I don't want to go off topic too much, but this is why it's such a it's a curse now. It's like you're cursed to have a children. Don't you know, in the days of antiquity, or the biblical days, it was a blessing to have a child, because it wasn't as easy, and plus it's just not, according to that's what the Most High wants you to do, have children, right? But now it's a curse. This is why this place has to go, because they encourage, especially our people, to have abortions, man. All right, so continue on. Let me so I believe I'm done in Genesis. Well, I'll continue on. Verse 7, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and onto thy seed after thee. Hold on one sec. All right, Salaki, I'm back. All right, so I finished. All right, I'm finished in Genesis. So I'm gonna go back to Hosea. I'm gonna go back to Hosea real quick and finish that up, and then go into that definition. So this is Hosea 1 and 10. I'll start from the top again. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Right now, I went back to Genesis, the 17th chapter, and went into the prophecy that was told to Abraham, right? First, his name was changed from Abram to Abraham, which is father exalted, to father of many, or father of many nations, or father of nations, right? Proving that was going to out of his loins, or out of his lineage, the nation of Israel shall be vast. It shall be exceeding fruitful, right? Then I went to the example of us going into Egypt, and how we multiplied in Egypt, how we multiply no matter where we are as a nation, right? Also, as far as us being innumerable, you can't count all of Israel, because all of Israel does not look like the 12 tribes sign. They don't look like the nation. They don't look like the apostles used to say, or still say. They don't all look like John Shaft, right? We even all don't look like what our prospective tribe says we are, or says we should look like. We look like, why? Because going into the prophecy of us being scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, Leviticus 26 and 33, Deuteronomy 28th chapter, right? I believe that's 64, I believe, or 68, or 64, I believe, of us being scattered amongst all the nations, when we're going to, our lineage is going to go through other nations, and we'll start to look like other nations. Not only look like them, we'll start to adopt their customs, because it only takes one generation for that lineage to start changing and start losing their own heritage and adopting a new one, wherever that person is placed, right? So that's that. So continuing in Hosea says, and it shall come to pass that in a place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there, which is right here in America. Right here in America, we're told we're not Israelites, right? We're not of the tribe of Levi. We're not of the tribe of Gad. We're not of the tribe of Ephraim, Manasseh, and so on and so forth. Not of the tribe of Judah, but we are the tribe. We are African Americans, right? We're Puerto Rican. We're everything under the sun except what our true heritage is, right? That's until the truth was exposed by the Most High, right? Which started with Abba Bivens, right? Hosea the 3rd chapter, you know? Which started with Abba Bivens on down, right? So it says, so it says, it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. So it says, in a place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, right, which is right here in America, there it shall be said, ye are the sons of the living power, meaning we are Yarsha Allah, right, Prince of the Power, right? That started right here in America. To be exact, it started right there in Harlem, and then it spread until you have what we have now, which is the knowledge of the so-called of Israel, the knowledge of the so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans, going back to the true biblical Israelites, as far as the small hats not being those chosen, not being those people, right? That all started right here in America, right? So let me so this is the definition I want to look up here, right? And it's in this verse. It's in Hosea 1 and 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and get Hosea in the blue letter, Hosea 1 and 10, and I'm gonna go into the word, right? Where it's for said, right? It's like, so it's an action word, right? Where it says, there shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. It shall be said, mention or number, that shall be it come to pass in a place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the. So both words, both said, the etymology or the word in the Hebrew for both of those words are the same. It's amar. Let me go to it. Here it is. Amar. Right? And it says to say, to speak, utter. Now, going into it, it says to say, to answer, to say in one's heart, right? To think, to command, to promise, to intend, right? Now let's break this down, man, right? Because it's commanded. It's commanded here in America. It has been commanded to the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who you really are, right? It's been promised to promise, right? To intend, to say in one's heart, right? To think, to say in one's heart or mind. Let's look into the definition of command real quick. To command, it says to give an authoritative order, right? So it's been said in an authoritative order by who? The prophets, right? We're telling you who you are, and we're telling the small hats who they're not. We're also telling you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who you're not. You're not so-called African. You're not so-called Costa Rican. You see? You're not so-called Mexican. Who you really are, or you are Yarsha Allah. We're commanding that to you, man. To promise. Let's see what the definition of that. A declaration or assurance that will do a particular thing or that a particular thing will happen. Also says word of honor. These are the definitions, right? A declaration or assurance that one will do a particular thing, right? So the Most High is definitely going to avenge the nation of Israel. Everything that he said through the Spirit has happened. All the prophecies, meaning the prophecies, right? All the things that he said was going to happen, it's happened, man. And it's going to happen, right? So that word say, to say, is a powerful thing, man. And I got more. It says to intend. It says to intend. It says intend, have a course of action as one's purpose or objective, plan, design, or destine someone or something for a particular purpose. Right? To intend. To be. So I got some more. It says to be told, to be said, to be called. Right? So it's been told to us. It's been said to us. And we've been called into this. The 144,000 have been called into this position, right? To command to the nation of Israel and tell them who they are. You know? Then it says to boast, to act proudly. Then some more. It says to avow, or it says to avow, to avouch. Let's see what the word. I looked this up. This is one of the, words I looked up at camp. I like to look up words as a brother is going into a verse. So it says to the definition of a vow, right? It says to avow, to avouch. The definition of a vow is to assert or confess openly. You see, haven't we been doing this open now? Does not the scripture say go to the broad gates, right? And try to bring bid people to the marriage. The marriage is us reuniting with the spirit of Yarsha Allah, man. Us reuniting with our true heritage. You see? That's the marriage. And we're pleading with 1/3, not 2/3, because we understand 2/3 of the nation of Israel is not gonna receive this. It's not for them. This go round, this first trip, is for a very small number. It's for a remnant, like the scriptures speak about. Right? To avow. Let's go back to it. To avow, to assert or confess openly. We're it says to man, these definitions, man. With clause B, it says to assert. To assert or confess openly. Let's look at what's I wish I could look up what that was. Anyway, let me look up a vouch. A vouch. It says to affirm or assert. To affirm or assert. A vouch. It says a vouch. I'm sorry. 1 second. To declare or assert with possessiveness, guarantee, or openly admit or confess something. So that's what it means to vouch. So to admit something openly and confess something openly, we have to do it out in the open. You can't be, right now I'm in my car, but when we go out there on the highways and byways, we avouch this message from the Most High to everybody. This is why the Most High, this is why 2/3 really have no excuse. This is why the ones that reject this, right? It's your own damn fault. This is why it says in Ezekiel the 3rd chapter what it says. Ezekiel 3rd chapter, Ezekiel 33rd chapter. Let me get that. Get it. Bring it up. This is Ezekiel 3. Where can I start here? I'm gonna start at what is it, 16? No, it's 3. Yeah, it is 3. I think it's right here. Yeah. I'll read 18. Well, I'll start at 17. I'll start at 16. Ezekiel 3 and 16. It says, and it came to pass at the end of 7 days that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, right? That's a spiritual time too, 7 days, right? Completion. Perfection, right? It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. So this is not Ezekiel spewing out or telling out his own words or feelings. These are words or message spiritually inspired by who? Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, right? And notice I said inspired, right? Inspired, right? That's that breath going into Ezekiel. Once again, Ezekiel with what is that? The 37th chapter, when it goes into the sticks, the 2 sticks. I'll put 2 sticks together, but it says he breathed into them and they became alive. They were the valley, they were just dry bones, and then once that breath came into them, their sinews started to come apart. You started to see the vascular system come together, right? The skin comes over the bone, first the muscle tissue, and then the skin comes over the muscle, or the muscle tissue, and then you get the face, and they're coming alive, man. And that's what's happening. We're all coming alive, man. That's why when we first got into this, it was like the saying says, a breath of fresh air. That's what this is, man. This right here, this is a breath of fresh air, man. And the Most High is giving it to you. He's giving it to the nation of Israel. All the nation of Israel is going to hear about this breath of fresh air, right? But we understand that not everybody is going to accept that fresh breath, man. Right? That breath is only for a small number or a remnant. Right? Continuing, it says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Meaning, I gave you the tools and you didn't use them. If you don't use the tools that I give you to go out there and go and fix shit, you know what? I'm going to take my fucking tools back. And everybody's shit that you were supposed to fix, their shit is going to break. But I'm going to charge you for that. You see? I'm going to charge you for that. Because Satan, I'm going to charge you for that. I'm going to charge you for that because I gave you the tools. I gave you what was needed to go out there and fix shit or bring people or bid people to the marriage, but you didn't do it. So you know what? You got it. Now you got to pay for that. Right? So this is why we go out there. This is why we do this. You know, we do it out of fear. Also, we want that golden ticket, man. That golden ticket is to get beamed up out of said destruction and said perils that are going to take place. We don't want to take part of that, man. And there's going to be a small group of Israelites that are going to be able to escape all those things that are going to happen. So it says, right? I'll read that again. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turned not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity. But thou hast delivered thy soul, meaning you saved your life. You saved your own soul, man. Why? Because you did what was required of you. You did what I required of you, speaking as or from the Most High, right? You did what I asked you to do. So you saved yourself. And that's all we're seeking. We're seeking deliverance, man. We're seeking deliverance for the things that are going to take place here in America and all over the world, right? Because there's, like I was going into, there are Israelites all over the four corners of the earth that will be delivered, right? That's what is that? In Revelation, the 7th chapter goes into when you see the others in white robes, and John said, "Who are they?" Those are the Israelite foreigners, man. All right, so let me see. Let me read a little bit more from this, from Hosea. It says, amar. It says, to be told, to be said, to be called, to boast, to act proudly, to avow, to avouch. Right? And I went into the word. It says to declare or assert with possessiveness. Positiveness. Guarantee or openly admit or confess something. It is a formal and somewhat old-fashioned word that implies strong affirmation, similar to vouching for something or someone. Right? To avouch means to declare or assert with positiveness, meaning to declare or assert something with not 100% belief, but with 100% factual evidence, right? A guarantee. It says a guarantee. Let's look up the word guarantee. A guarantee is a formal promise or assurance, typically in writing, to certain conditions. The definition of guarantee, and this is what this is. When we go out there in the highways and byways and we through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, we declare to the nation of Israel who they really are, and we declare unto them, we avouch unto them, right? We avow unto them the prophecies. You see, the promises that were made to us, that were made to the Israelites, right? In writing, in the writing is this: that certain conditions will be fulfilled, especially that a product will be repaired or replaced, if not a specified quality or durability, right? So it's basically a guarantee. That's what we're doing. And this is what the Most High is saying. It's saying with a guarantee, all these things are going to take place. With a guarantee, in the place where it was said you are not the Israelites, it's going to be said that you are the Israelites. And the fact that you are Israelites is a guarantee. You see? It's powerful, man. That's powerful. You see? To speak, to utter, right? And you see what else I can get out of this, and I'll end it. I'll end it with that. To say, very frequent in the Old Testament. Now I'm looking at what is this? Now I'm looking at the I'm just looking here, seeing what else I can get out of this, and then I'll end it with that. Give me 1 second as I read through this. This is, I'm looking in the blue letter. What else I can get out of this? I think that might be it. But if the spirit want to continue, it will continue. One second here. Man, this is cause look, I'm going through. You see, it's a long list, meaning it's a heavy definition, and it said at the beginning of this, it's very frequent in the Old Testament. The word amar, which is said, it's a very frequently used word. Trying to get all the meat off this bone, man. Get all that meat. You know, and today, also today is this wicked ass holiday. I had to work today, but today's fucking this bullshit Thanksgiving, you know. So let's be in remembrance of our fellow brethren, the Native Americans, what they had to go through, which proves who they are, you know. Right? The curses they had come on, man. You know, that's something that's undeniable. All the curses that they went through a lot of the same curses. All the tribes went through fucking hell, man. All the tribes went through hell under the subjection, under these damn devils, man. The Spaniards, ruthless, right? So let's take this day to not, you know, to remember what our brethren went through. Actually, in the Native American, among them, you know, among that community, it's a day of mourning. It's a day of remembrance. You know, they're saying, fuck, you know, this damn shit. This, you know, excuse my French. Fuck this fucking bullshit holiday, man. You know? What we should be, and today is the, today's the Sabbath as well. Once night falls, the Sabbath is going to be, or sundown is going to be, the Sabbath is going to be over. I think that's it, man. I think we'll end it with that. Let me just finish up here. Hold on, Hosea. There is said to anyone this or that. Well, there you go. I'll end it with that, man. I think I got enough meat off this bone over here. Right, so it says, going back to the word amar, in Hosea 1 and 10, I'll read Hosea 1 and 10 again. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, shall be what? Shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered, right? When you grab a fistful of, go to the beach, you grab a fistful of sand, and you let it fall through your fingers, you know, out of your hand, and try to count. You can't fucking count each fucking grain of sand. And that's just one fistful, man. Or you could pick up, or you could take a pinch of sand and just try to, you know, allow it to fall on the ground. There's no way, unless you got spiritual power, which ain't nobody got spiritual power like that, to be able to count each grain. The same way you can't number the nation of Israel, because we're just too many, and we're mingled within the other nations. So even if you were to number all the tribes on the chart, what about the Israelite foreigners? Because they've adopted a different name, they've adopted a different culture, a different heritage. They don't even look, they don't look like they don't look like us. They don't look like the people in the tribe. Some might, some may not. Right? So we're innumerable, man. And this is a blessing. You know, from the Most High. It was a blessing given to Abraham and his seed. He said, I will make you, this is why his name was changed. to from Abram to Abraham, right? Abram, no, Abaram to Abaraham, right? Father exalted to father of many nations, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass, meaning this is going to be a prophecy, it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, which is right here in America, right? There it shall be said, there it shall be amar. There it shall be amar. Ye are the sons of the living power, Yarsha Allah. There shall be said, and right here is where the truth began to spring or sprouted or whatever, right? Going, and it started right there in Harlem. And it's funny, it's Hosea. You go to the read the third chapter. You know, going to the word amar, it means to avouch. It means to command. It means to promise. Let's go into that definition again. Said. Amar, it says to command, to answer, or to say in one's heart, to think. We got to think. We you know, it all starts here, right? Thought, you know, to think, and then what you think is what you say, or what you know, or what's implanted in us for us to think in our spirit, and that comes from the Most High. The Most High has a turn on that light switch for us to believe this. There it shall be said. There shall be commanded, or there shall be promised, or there shall be avowed or avouched. Ye are actually the sons of the living power. Ye are Yarsha Allah. All right. I think that's pretty much it, man. I'll leave it at that. Lord willing, you brothers and sisters were edified. Until the next show, shalom.